Support comes from Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to sustainable and sound conservation of the state's forests, which support more than 41,000 Missouri jobs, resulting in a $10 billion industry. ChooseWood.com.
From the St. Louis Public Radio Newsroom, this is The Gateway. It's Monday, September 16th. I'm Wayne Pratt. Ahead, the St. Louis Blues summer of celebrating with the Stanley Cup is coming to an end. The so-called keeper of the cup says his highlight was a small Alberta community with a population of 85.
It was one of those days that the town increased in size so much that a police officer told me it's their first traffic jam they've ever had in the city, which for a Stanley Cup moment, that's pretty cool.
We'll speak with the Hockey Hall of Fame's Phil Pritchard about the Blues' summer with the trophy. First, the news. Thousands of auto workers are on strike at the General Motors plant in Wentzville. It's part of a national action by UAW members at GM operations. Union leadership called for the strike over the weekend after contract talks broke down. Those negotiations are expected to resume today. GM says it has made substantial offers, but union officials say they are still far apart on several issues, including wages, health care, and use of temporary workers. There are more than 4,000 workers at that GM plant in Wentzville. The Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services has confirmed at least 2 cases of a respiratory illness linked to vaping and is investigating 7 others. As St. Louis Public Radio's Sarah Fenton reports, health officials still do not know the specific cause.
Patients report coughing, shortness of breath, fever, weight loss, and elevated heart rates. Victims also say they've used vaping products. 6 people across the country have died from the mysterious illness, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Officials say many who have become ill used vaping products that had been modified to vape cannabis or other substances. Randall Williams is director of the Department of Health. He says it's clear patients are getting sick from inhaling a toxic chemical.
Where you've inhaled some toxin, whether it be a gas or whatever, has a fairly characteristic pattern that's different than your commonplace pneumonias.
Williams says people should reconsider using e-cigarettes and other vaping products until health workers learn more. I'm Sarah Fenton, St. Louis Public Radio.
Fort Leonard Wood is taking a new approach to suicide prevention. St. Louis Public Radio's Jonathan Ahl reports the focus is on soldiers who have struggled and gotten help.
Sergeant Major Jason Van Cleek knows firsthand the pressures of being a soldier and struggling with depression. He had suicidal thoughts in 2007 and got help. Now he's telling his story as part of a suicide prevention program called I Chose to Live.
There's a whole demographic of people that win this fight every day, and we're not capturing the story of those people to let those that come after us that have the same struggle know that they're not the only one that has that struggle.
Van Cleek hopes the program is expanded to other military bases around the country. Nationwide, more than 300 active duty service members died by suicide in 2018. Reporting from Fort Leonard Wood, I'm Jonathan Ahl, St. Louis Public Radio.
Remember to subscribe, rate, and review this daily effort wherever you get your podcasts. Training camp is underway for the National Hockey League's St. Louis Blues, even though the team and its fans are still celebrating last season's Stanley Cup championship. The team's first preseason game, by the way, is tonight in Dallas. The Cup went on tour this summer with each player, coach, executive, trainer, and equipment manager. The Hockey Hall of Fame's Phil Pritchard went with it, hitting 5 countries on 3 continents. I spoke with Pritchard, who is known as the keeper of the cup. He says this summer's highlights include the first tour stop. It was in head coach Craig Berube's hometown of Calahoo, Alberta.
I remember him telling me as we were organizing the day that there was 85 people that lived there, and apparently over 3,000 showed up. It was one of those days that the town increased in size so much that a police officer told me it's their first traffic jam they've ever had in the city, which for a Stanley Cup moment, that's pretty cool.
How many years have you been doing this?
I started September 1988.
So from September 1988 to now, when you go to those small towns and even the larger towns, has there been a difference in the reaction of the communities, or has that remained constant no matter where you've gone?
Obviously, social media has changed the way we look at things and the way we record things, but the reaction of people is all the same to me. Now it's recorded and it can get shared with everybody. So although the parties remain the same and the celebrations remain the same and what the guys do remain the same, the day is experienced by a lot more.
I can't think of another trophy in professional sports that essentially serves as an ambassador for that sport. Is that an assessment you agree with, that the Stanley Cup is an ambassador itself for hockey?
100%. I think every player that has won it will probably tell you that it's bigger than the team, bigger than the game, bigger than the league. It represents hockey in general, and everyone that puts on a pair of skates or picks up a stick wants to play in the greatest league in the world, the National Hockey League. Ultimately, they want to bring the Stanley Cup. So they understand that pyramid in hockey, the pinnacle is right at the top, the Stanley Cup.
So over the years, I think we've all seen images of players eating cereal out of the cup, drinking beer out of the cup. I think there were some images this summer of Pat Maroon, when he was still with the Blues, eating toasted ravioli out of the cup, which leads to the question, what's the process for cleaning this thing?
Every day we clean it. We're taking the fingerprints off of it. We're getting any substance that might be on it, whether it's beer or champagne or ravioli or what have you. But every day when it starts off its day, we clean it with warm water and a soft detergent. Twice a year it gets done professionally. We take it apart and get it all done in that. But all we need to do is just get the substance off and get the fingerprints off it. When you're silver and 3 feet high and just over 35 pounds, when you're clean, it's sparkling.
I'm under the impression that you go everywhere with the cup, hence the Keeper of the Cup moniker that's been attached to your name. Do I have that right, or is it a little different than what I'm imagining?
You got it right. We represent the Keeper of the Cup, and that name kind of came around by hockey fans. We're a historian for the trophy. We're public relations for the trophy. We are security for the trophy. We're transportation for the trophy. It's kind of like our best friend for the summer. It comes back to our hotel at night and stays with us at night, and then we go on to the next day. It's a traveling partner, but so much more.
Based on what you just said, a lot of big hockey fans think this guy has the coolest job ever. Do you see it the same way?
That's a tough one to answer because, to me, I think winning the Stanley Cup is probably the coolest job ever. But I also think anyone that loves what they do and gets up in the morning and enjoys their job has the coolest job ever. But also at the same time, a doctor or a nurse that's saving someone's life, to me, really has the coolest job ever because they're saving lives. And in saying all those three things at the same time, I think it boils down to if you love what you do, it's a great job. And I love what I do.
Our Maria Altman edited that report. Shula Newman is the executive editor of St. Louis Public Radio. Music by Ryan McNeely of Adult Fur. I'm Wayne Pratt, and from the St. Louis Public Radio Newsroom, this has been The Gateway.
Support comes from Mosby Building Arts, a design-build company committed to remodeling the right way. Visit callmosby.com to get project inspiration for any room of your house.